welcome to the show. This is The Force Always. My name is Diz, aka David Zammit. Let's get on with the show with the news, the views, the reviews, and interviews. This is now 2026. It's a brand new day, brand new year. So let's get on with some news. Well, to start off the year, no news is good news. That's coming from Starfighter and The Mandalorian and Grogu movie information, trailer, poster, anything, zero at this stage. It's probably a little bit bad news because I keep predicting for this Mandalorian and Grogu trailer to come out. I thought it was going to come out Christmas Day about a week ago. It's still got time to come out on New Year's Day because the rest of the world has not entered 2026 yet. But we've just got to keep waiting. It's actually about 4 months to go. They really need to ramp things up. Anyway, so that's no news. It's good news with Starfighter and or Mandalorian and Grogu. But moving into more news, which is not great big headlines, but Star Wars Celebration is not this year, but next year. It would depends on what part of the world you're watching this. If you're watching this now, because some of you are still in 2025, but I am in 2026. We are in the future here in Australia, amazingly enough. But 2027, about a year and 4 months roughly away, will be Star Wars Celebration in LA. Yes, so what I'm bringing the news up for is in about 4 months, 4 months time from now, you want to get your act together because you want to try and get hotels and you want to try and get tickets if they become available a year in advance. I'm unsure, but my big suggestion, it being in America and especially LA and especially being the 50th anniversary, be 2 or 3, 4 or 5, maybe 6 steps ahead. You are going to need endurance to the top. Believe me, I'm telling you right now. Look up the hotels, look up the Star Wars tickets, repeatedly to when they're available. Get online. It's going to be a tough one, but give it a shot, see how you go. But anyway, it's about 4 months away from now. Just some Star Wars Celebration LA 2027 info. That's my suggestion. It's making news for myself. That's all it is. Breaking news for me. Anyway, so that's the news for this time around. Let's get into the views. Views is my story ideas that I have within Star Wars. I accept the story for what it is, from the start to finish, how it is right now. I accept it. Doesn't mean I love it or hate it or dislike or like it. But I will say overall, it's a great adventure in space. That means it's just not just space. It's a certain, as George Lucas said one time, it's a used future. I love the style. I love Star Wars, and good or bad, it's something to enjoy. Anyway, my story idea this time around is about an opinion. Should we ever get any information about the Skywalker family in the next installments of Star Wars, especially in the storyline of Star Wars? We do have one which is Starfighter, which is 5 years after the Rise of Skywalker, Episode 9. Should we get made mention anything? Well, you don't need to. You can actually get away with not doing it. You can actually just create a complete, movie without mentioning anything about the Skywalkers. But I will say, whether you love this or not, that Rey Skywalker, that's controversial enough as itself. Rey Skywalker, or maybe to some of you out there, just Rey. Palpatine, Rey. The character Rey, 5 years after the events of Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, needs to have some sort of known impact within the Starfighter movie. If it is avoided, it would be then a little bit a nod to just ignoring something that really is there. But you can actually get away with not mentioning Luke or Leia or even Darth Vader or Padme, which she rarely gets mentioned anyway, which is not a good or bad thing. It just rarely does. But the Skywalker family, as we know, other than Rey, doesn't need to be mentioned in the especially the Starfighter film or anything that's after that. We can just, just like it's something of history and you can get away with it. But again, Rey is a big impact to Star Wars even 5 years after the events of Episode 9. I mean, the whole galaxy. I mean, the galaxy plus the galaxy was there. If you saw it in Rise of Skywalker, it's going to be really hard to ignore that Rey exists. Anyway, that's my story idea. The story idea is you don't have to mention the actual Skywalkers that we know, Leia, Luke, Darth Vader, Padme, technically. But you would definitely have to have that in there. If it doesn't get mentioned, I'm not going to be mad. I'll accept the story for what it is and see what their reasoning behind it is. And that's fine. Whatever it is. I'm sure it can be explained. Anyway, that's my story idea. Let's get into reviews. Reviews is just something that I have in this wonderful room that you see back here, filled with so much excitement. Look, up there. It's a Coke bottle with Han Solo on it. Yeah, that's just one. But anyway, this here, what is this? This is a very unusual piece of jewelry that's a badge. This is the thing you get, one of the possibilities you can get from when you go to the lightsaber making place in Disneyland, the Galaxy's Edge. You choose the lightsaber, and the parts to the lightsaber, and you make a lightsaber, which is so much fun, even though it's pretty much, like Lego in a metal sort of way. And you get to choose one of these badges. I think this was Jedi Master. I think this is the badge. But yeah, it comes with the actual lightsaber you make. I highly recommend doing it. It's just a, probably to a lot of people ridiculous, but for us Star Wars fans, it's fun to make your own lightsaber. I do have it here, but I'll show you that at another time. I did get a green blade, just to let you know. But yeah, this is the badge that you get with one of the possibilities with the lightsaber you get from Disneyland, the Galaxy's Edge. This here, I don't know if it's going to be much value to a lot of people out there. But for me, it was just such a fun time. I had a ball in Galaxy's Edge. Anyway, that was me. So that is my review for this time. Let's get into the interviews. Interviews is any type of interview, but usually coming from my comment section that I get on my comments on YouTube. Now, I don't have an Instagram. I don't have an X or Twitter type of thing happening at the moment for this channel. But so I just get everyone to just, on the last possible video, send in a question or comment or whatever it is. And so anyway, usually our friend Michael from Werribee South, as we've got to meet him a couple of episodes ago, he is pretty much the dominant guy that loves asking me questions. Not just about Star Wars, lots of things in life. And I think he likes to test me if I Google things or not, but I'll tell you what I've Googled and things that I haven't Googled. Anyway, first question from Michael from Werribee South is, what is the Wookiees' home world and how do you pronounce it? Well, for me to actually say the name is pronouncing it. It was quite a question. What is the Wookiee's home world and how do you pronounce it? For me to let you know what that answer is, I have to say it, which is pronouncing it. Michael, what a question. But I can tell you that we first got light of the Wookiee's homeworld technically in the holiday special of Star Wars, which is the most horrendous thing on planet Earth. I'll equal it with a lot of other things that is horrendous, and I just that's one thing I can't stand. But anyway, even though I accept the story for what it is, but my God, it's a push for that one. Anyway, it's Kashyyyk. Kashyyyk. It was first seen and mentioned in the holiday special because they go there in this holiday special. But anyway, they've used it in technically when we really see it in a serious way in a movie was in Revenge of the Sith, episode 3. That's the answer. Next question is, what were Luke's and Uncle's jobs on Tatooine? Well, that's another non-Google. The first question was a non-Google. The second question is a non-Google. They're moisture farmers. They're moisture farmers, and Luke was an extra helping hand. That's their job on Tatooine. The next question from Michael from Werribee South is, in which movie does the camera pan back up after the crawl? Now, I knew there's only one movie that does it. In which movie does the camera pan back up after the crawl? Because usually it goes down after the crawl. But this one particular one went up. I knew that there was one. So I'm half right. But I did have to Google this and I did get it wrong. I thought, because I've not seen it for a little while, like a lot of the Star Wars films, I've watched them so many times that I just don't rewatch them at the moment. But I do watch excerpts of them. My choice was Force Awakens, but I was wrong. But it actually is Attack of the Clones. That's episode 2. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. It goes up. That's the answer. Next question from Michael from Werribee South. So the last one was a part Google. Okay, but it was a part, but let's call it a whole Google because Michael will go crazy. You had to Google it. Anyway, it was a Google. But I did know that there was one. Anyway, the next question, which bounty hunter in The Empire Strikes Back is wearing an old costume from Doctor Who episode? Now, this is definitely Google. Did not know this one. The actual answer sort of surprised me, but when you look at the costume on the particular, it was like you sort of see it. Like, oh my God, it's a reptile. He's a bounty hunter that is of a reptile sort of look. Quite a popular bounty hunter in figure collecting and even in other parts of the story of Star Wars, this official Star Wars line. Even if you look in, I think it's Clone Wars. I think he appears, or also Clone Wars. It may be Rebels. I think it's more Rebels. I think it is, and he's in there. But it is actually Bossk. His attire was in a Doctor Who's, and that's a Doctor Who's TV show. And that's quite interesting to know that. I did not know that, and that was definitely a Google question. Okay. So the next question from Michael from Werribee South is, what was the original name of the first Star Wars movie when it went into production? Now, this is, again, something I knew, but something I didn't know. I did have to Google this to confirm, but the actual answer surprised me a little. The actual production name was called The Adventures of Luke Starkiller. Thank God they didn't stick with that. But anyway, The Adventures of Luke Starkiller, because Luke Starkiller technically became Luke Skywalker. Thank God for that. But it was also known as The Star Wars. When the first movie came out, it was called The Star Wars. But when it was released out into the cinema, they called it Star Wars. And shortly after that, in that time period of the 70s, They then gave it an episode number, then the actual subtitle to the actual name of the particular episode. It was Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope. But it was called The Star Wars, and before that it was called The Adventures of Luke's Starkiller. There you go. We learn something every day. Now, the next question from Michael from Werribee South is, how many dewbacks were in the original 1977 theatrical cut of the first Star Wars movie? Now, I did not have to Google this. I know. 1. It's actually a big, unusual elephant, sort of horse type, cow type character that was in this in the desert sands at the start of the film. It didn't, in fact, move. The only way it moved is they had a stick to move it slightly to sort of show there was a bit of movement about it. But when the special editions came out, they then animated some CGI versions of it in the actual particular scene, and also down the track in the particular movie when they did the special editions. They came out about 97, I think it's 97, 98. But yeah, the dewbacks, there was only one. Yeah. Let me rock some, because it is technically the day after the big night here in Australia, Melbourne, Australia. Anyway, now, the next question from Michael from Werribee South is, in how many languages is C3PO fluent? Well, I could tell you straight off the bat, without even Googling this, over 6 million forms of language. 6 million. And it's interesting, there's no exact number, but it is 6 million forms of language. That's right, 6 million. And that is the answer to that question. The next question, what are the odds? So what are the odds of C3PO give Han Solo for successfully navigating the asteroid field? This is an interesting question. I'll tell you why in a second. What odds does C3PO give Han for successfully navigating an asteroid field? Now, I had to Google this one, and the answer to the question is approximately 3,720 to 1. That was the odds. But what's interesting about the question is Han Solo replies and says, "Don't tell me the odds." That is actually on the hat of Ryan Gosling when he appeared at Star Wars Celebration last year, 2025, in Japan. His hat said, "Don't tell me the odds." That line that is on his hat came from that particular point in the Star Wars films. That was A New Hope. Don't tell me the odds. And it was really interesting. It was a very nice little piece of Easter egg worn by Ryan Gosling that's coming out in Starfighter in 2027. Anyway, so let's see if all the questions have been answered. I just got to go back into that particular. Yeah, that was. Now, I did also on the episode beforehand, I got an extra comment. And I just thought I'd just add it in today's show, which I don't usually go back to many shows to bring all the questions and comments to the bunch. Please do it in the last particular episode that I drop. It'd be great. I can answer for the next thing. A Kevin Hickers 6645. Kevin Hickers 6645 said Grogu as a Sith. That's it. I just thought I'd mention that. He kindly said Grogu as a Sith. What that actually means, I'm unsure, but that was from Kevin Hickers 6645. Anyway, that is the show for this time around. The first one of its year, and I am here usually 3 or 4 times a week with the news, the views, the reviews, interviews. Please subscribe to this channel. press the notification button. It will help you know that I've got an episode up. The 3 or 4 times a week can be a little bit out of whack sometimes, but it can be pretty much in the same time period. But please subscribe to The Force Always. Press the notifications button. Like the show if you like. Send in a comment. It could be a comment. It could be a question. I'm not Mr. Trivia Man. I'm not Mr. Know-It-All. But I can give you my answer. I can respond to your comment. If it's deemed appropriate, that is. Just to let you know. Anyway, until the next time, my friends, keep rocking.